I've always been the kind of guy who laughs things off. A jab here, a dig there, I'd shrug, smile, and move on. But that night, something inside me broke, quiet and precise. It started like any other Friday. Olivia and I had plans for dinner at our usual spot, a small steakhouse we both liked. 3 years together, long enough to read each other's moods in a single breath. I was running 10 minutes late because of traffic, but when I walked in, she was already seated, scrolling through her phone, a half-empty wine glass before her. "Hey, about time," I said, trying to catch her eye. She didn't even glance up. Traffic was murder. I added, "I swear the universe hates punctual people." She smirked, that half smile that always carried a sting. I paused. What's that supposed to mean? Finally, she looked up, a sparkle in her eyes that wasn't playful at all. "Oh, nothing. Just saying. I bet you'd be early if it were with someone new. You know, like those girls at your gym." She laughed, sipping her wine like it was nothing. That's the thing with her. Every dig wrapped in a joke, tossed out with a smile. And if it stung, you were the crazy one for feeling it. For years, I let it slide. Every sarcastic remark, every half-truth masked as "I'm kidding." But that night, something shifted. Maybe it was the way the candlelight flickered across her face. Maybe it was the exhaustion of pretending not to notice her chipping away at me. I smiled back. "You're right," I said softly. "Maybe I would be early if it were with someone who actually wanted to see me." Her eyes widened. "Excuse me?" I leaned forward. "Someone who doesn't spend half the night scrolling through her phone, acting like she's too good to be here." Her face tightened. "Wow. Sensitive much?" I was just joking. There was that word, joking. Her armor always hiding behind it. I took a slow breath, steadying myself. "Remember last month at your friend's wedding?" She frowned. "What about it?" "You made a toast. Said, 'I'm just happy Lucas found someone patient enough to tolerate him.'" Everyone laughed. "Right, but that was me. You were humiliating me. That's your idea of love, making me the punchline." Olivia rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting. It's just humor. Learn to take a joke." I almost laughed. Learn to take a joke. The line she used every time she went too far. Every time it made me feel small. But I didn't raise my voice. I just looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I thought I'd marry, realizing how little I knew. "You know what's funny?" I said quietly. "You keep saying it's just a joke, but the only one laughing is you." She paused, unsure, then scoffed, flipping her hair as if she could brush the moment away. "You're being dramatic. Maybe you're not as tough as you think." I nodded slowly. "Maybe I'm not. But at least I'm not cruel and calling it humor." Silence fell heavy. The waiter hovered awkwardly with menus. Olivia waved him off, muttering we needed a minute. "Lucas, come on," she finally said. "You're really going to get offended over a stupid comment?" I looked down at my hands. Steady. "No, Olivia. I'm done pretending it's stupid. You call it humor. I call it disrespect dressed up in a smile." Her expression shifted, irritation melting into something like surprise. But it was too late. Something inside me had clicked. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was simply done. "Enjoy your dinner," I said, pushing back my chair. "And your jokes." "Where are you going?" she demanded, voice rising. I met her eyes one last time. Somewhere I don't have to keep laughing just to feel loved. And I walked out, her voice fading behind me, swallowed by the clatter of dishes and soft piano music. She thought her little joke would slide. She wasn't ready for the silence that followed. The night air hit me like a reset button, cool, quiet, honest. I stood on the curb, watching cars streak past, headlights reflecting on wet pavement. My chest ached, not with regret, but like pulling a splinter that had dug in too long. I walked to my car, phone buzzing in my pocket. "Olivia, of course." "Olivia, are you serious right now?" "Olivia, you're really leaving over a joke." "Olivia, this is ridiculous, Lucas." I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Then I locked it and slipped the phone back into my jacket. For once, She could sit in the silence she never let me have. As I drove, city lights blurred into streaks of orange and white. Every mile between us peeled off another layer of frustration I'd carried for years. I wasn't angry anymore, just exhausted from being the quiet target in my own relationship. At home, I poured a drink and sat on the couch. The silence filled the room, the kind most people call lonely. To me, it was peace. For the first time in years, no one was laughing at me. An hour later, another text. Olivia, you know I didn't mean it like that. Olivia, you always take things too seriously. Olivia, can we just talk? I didn't answer, not to punish her, but because I finally understood, explaining respect to someone means they've already stopped giving it. The next morning, she came to my apartment. I heard her knocking before I got out of bed. Lucas, come on, open up. I cracked the door just enough to see her face. Eyes red, makeup smudged, coat from the night before. I didn't sleep, she said quickly. I kept thinking about what you said. Maybe I did go too far. For a second, I saw the Olivia I fell for, the one who stayed up through thunderstorms, who touched my arm, who talked about everything and nothing. But that version of her had vanished long before last night. I stepped aside, letting her in. She looked around like she expected me to explode. I didn't come to fight, I said. Then what? She asked. To say goodbye? I nodded. To say I finally get it. Get what? That love doesn't survive on jokes that make one person feel small. You say you were just kidding, but every joke chipped away at me until I stopped recognizing myself. Olivia crossed her arms. So that's it? You're just going to throw us away over a few comments. No, I said quietly. I'm walking away because you never thought those comments mattered. That's the real problem. She shook her head. You're so dramatic sometimes. That was it. The line that sealed everything. That dismissive tone. That refusal to understand. I smiled sadly. Maybe, but at least I'm not cruel and calling it charm. Her eyes glistened with tears she wouldn't let fall. You'll regret this, Lucas. I opened the door, nodding toward the hallway. Maybe, but at least I'll regret it in peace. She hesitated, grabbed her bag, and left. The door clicked behind her, soft and final. For a moment, I stood there, the echo of her footsteps fading.